And I was in the sort of. All American presidents.
Alright, welcome everybody to the first breakout session. The speaker for the session is going to be Jason Scott Earl. He's visiting from BYU, Hawaii. He's super excited to be here. He teaches entrepreneurship strategy. Yes. And the title is The Power of the Asynchronous Video. So I'll turn the time over to Jason Scott Earl.
And Leah is one of our graphic students.
Let's recognize Leah. All right, brothers and sisters, aloha.
Aloha. Howdy.
Howdy. It's great to be here with you. I'm super excited. Really, there's only two things you need to know about me. First of all, I have 6 startups. Their names are Benjamin, Jaden, Grant, Max, Kenneth, and Henry. We have 5 boys born in 5 different states. And we have an IPO soon. My son Benjamin, currently attending BYU-Idaho, hopefully gets his mission call this next semester. Send him off to the world. All right, let's just talk right off about the problem. We have a huge problem. Most of you are aware of this, and that is most online classes are terrible. Right? You've been in them. You tried to fix them. I think it's a huge step forward to have these kind of events where we can learn from each other. I've been so impressed with some of the presentations and the online instructors we have here. And I just want to share real quick this dark secret that we don't talk about. And that is they talk about how the overall average assessment of these courses is pretty good. They would say on a scale of 1 to 7, online is right in there with on campus. In some cases, online classes are better. What they don't tell you is what the distribution looks like, right? Typical online classes, normal distribution curve. On campus, we have this tail here, right? These are typically faculty that we're waiting to have them retire, go away, right? So if you could chop off the tail, right? The overall average would be much, much better, right? And more importantly here, this is where we have our master teachers. Out of 120 credits, students say about 10% of their classes actually help them, like change their life or meaningful. These are the ones that make a huge difference, and this is what pulls it up to an average that's on par with this. Does that make sense? So our goal is to somehow get this to happen here. How do we get master teachers teaching online? And some of the best education institutions in the world are struggling with this. The other dynamic I want to share with you real quick is how quickly things are changing. Back in the days of AOL, I don't know if you remember this, but they were trying like crazy to get you online. They had these CD-ROMs, they shipped them all over. You could go to dumpsters like full of these things. To hit 10 million users, it took them 10 years. 10 million users is kind of like a big deal. Once you hit that, you've got a pretty solid customer base. It took Facebook, I'll write this up here, to get the same level of 10 million users, it took them 10 months. Right? And Snapchat, any guesses on the trend here?
10 weeks.
More or less, exactly 10 weeks. Right, now I don't know what's coming next, but it's gonna happen pretty quick. And this is kind of the world I think of our millennials. They're used to this social media format, this asynchronous video, and that's really what I want to share with you today. So, right now,
Lower your screen.
oh, thank you. Right now, students are missing that face-to-face experience with their teachers. I've seen some really innovative ways of trying to improve on this. We have audio feedback, we have recorded videos. The big challenge here is we've got a tsunami of demand, right? Pretty soon, we're gonna have more online instructors at BYU-Idaho than I have students at BYU-Hawaii. It's crazy. The bandwidth for many of our international students is pretty limited. I've been in the islands, I've seen my students in Samoa, Tonga, Fiji. Bandwidth it's getting better, but it's not high speed and it is expensive. Also, the Socratic method is missing online. This is probably one of our best ways of teaching with spontaneous face-to-face questions. And then we've got the challenge of multiple time zones, trying to get everyone synchronously to meet up. And I'll close with this thought. The only thing worse than 40 students watching a video of their professor is a professor who has to watch 40 student videos. Right? This is a nightmare.
Amen.
Right. So what we need is a new way of doing this. About 4 years ago, I was teaching here at BYU-Idaho. We were asked to move our best cases online. I fought against it like crazy. We found some software developers and created this platform to simulate the case method experience. And our real goal was to try simulate learning the way it should be taking place. So I don't mean to be condescending, most of you already know this, but how we learn can be in two very different ways. First, we can learn to know by basically sitting around a campfire, listening to stories of people, usually it's stories about themselves. This is how we did it 6,000 years ago. Today, we call it PowerPoint. This is a really bad way to learn. It's probably one of the worst ways to learn. A much, much better way to learn is to learn to become. This is where we actually go out into the field, we have a mentor, we listen to them, we hold the spear, we throw the spear, we get real experience, we make some mistakes, but most importantly, we do what our mentor says to do. This is the #1 most effective way to learn. If we can somehow have this mentor protege experience with our students, instead of this mass market manufacturing approach. So as you look at this ladder of gaining knowledge and experience, we start off as a novice, we go to apprentice, journeyman, and master. This also, I think, relates back to that need for a master teacher, someone the students can connect with, listen to. He doesn't really tell them stuff, but he tells them what to do. Go do this. Hopefully you fail. Come back and let's talk about it. And what did you learn from the experience? So as we were struggling with this, how do we get this to work online? We went back, read some of our founding documents, and I was so impressed with this. This was at President Clark's inaugural address 11 years ago. He says, "I am convinced we will find new ways to use information technology to reach more students, to deepen the learning experience for those we touch. In these experiences, students will teach one another in new and powerful ways. This capacity to educate effectively across time and space will allow us to leverage the capacity of the university and reach many more young people." Like, this converted me. I was like, man, we've got to find a way to do this online. If we're really supposed to go out and teach all of these students worldwide, there's got to be a way. So we turned basically towards the problem, and we tried to develop this case method software. In the past, simulations were really limited to the 3 M's, and those were basically military, medical, and mass transit. I mean, if lives are on the line, we simulate it. The second worst thing would be to lose a lot of money. So we also have simulations for businesses. We run a lot of simulations here at BYU-Idaho and BYU-Hawaii. So the idea was, let's simulate the case discussion. Now there's 2 ways to do this. You can do it synchronously, like you do at Harvard Business School, or asynchronously. And no one had really yet kind of cracked the nut on the asynchronous method. We started working on this. We got contacted by Harvard Business Publishing. We went over in 2012, we demonstrated the software, and they basically said, we're going to do this. But there was a big discussion. They didn't know whether to do it synchronously or asynchronously. Michael Porter was all about synchronous. Clay Christensen was all about asynchronous. And then a new dean came in, and they invested $100 million into one classroom, and they created a synchronous case discussion where you could have senior executives from all around the world log in and have this discussion online. And this is what it looks like. Maybe not. Oh, I know, it's up here.
Ready to wall, please.
If it's interactive as possible, I'll be using the board to help.
Go, please. Go.
Let's get started. How is everyone today? It is so wonderful to see you all. I assume you all read the case. Let's start with the key decision facing this protagonist. Okay, Maya in Shanghai, you're the decision maker. What's your plan?
When I look at this launch, what I see is faulty decision making every single day.
Okay, now this is getting interesting.
Despite close to 800,000 participating teams.
Big time.
Rob in Buenos Aires, what are they doing wrong?
That's another proposition all wrong. Just because he works in one church doesn't mean he's going to work.
Big boy.
All right, so here's what we want to do. Let's take a poll. Everybody open up their polling tool. First option is to stay the course. Second option is to poll and relaunch. And the third option is somewhat in between. All right, so most of you, despite the problems, think this company should stay the course. Oh, Papa, I think you disagree.
Oh, yes, I do disagree.
So Sally, why does that worry you?
What it tells me is that the business lacks discipline. And every time they encounter a problem, they try to spin around.
Jeffrey in London, what about you? What's your plan?
I'm solving the problems.
I'm full of on. Make the necessary adjustments and then move on.
Now that was a great session. See you all next week.
Okay, any thoughts on that?
So I teach the B483 class.
Yes, sir.
So I had the one that you designed that used UCU.
Yeah.
And now we're going to Google Hangouts instead.
Yeah.
And I've seen that before because I've kind of been paying attention. I can't wait till that's like 5 years down the road. It costs about 2% as much because that's cost prohibitive, but man, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the future. That's right now it's $50,000 a person, right? Of course, they get a whole executive MBA out of this, but
Right.
it's definitely expensive. Yes.
As soon as we get on
Yeah. I mean, you look at the mobile technology. I mean, it is. I think we are much closer to this than we think we are. And the crazy thing is to look at how we've jumped technologies. I was in Vanuatu a few months ago with one of my students, and we're on this island that has no electricity and no running water, and I got villagers running around with cell phones, right? I'm like, how does that work? You go into the shops where they're selling their food, and we've got a lot of subsistence farmers, and there's a lady who's surrounded by all of her papaya she's selling, and she's playing Candy Crush on her phone. And I'm like, how do you charge that thing? And she yelled some Vanuatu, and one of these little boys ran over, right? And he has a bag of cell phone batteries. And every other night, he collects the batteries from all the villagers, gets in a boat, goes to another island where there's like a place where they can change out batteries where they actually have power, right? So we've skipped the power lines and the natural gas pipelines and all this infrastructure. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be at a point soon where you get near your institute building, you pull out your phone, there's a cloud of classes, you select an app, it's one of these classes, right? And this is how we're going to be getting education to the church. Now, Clay Christensen looks at this and says, this is not a disruptive innovation, this is way too expensive. It needs to be low cost, it needs to be scalable, and it needs to be asynchronous. And so this is his solution, which is currently on the market right now. I think it's right here. This is his class he teaches on disruptive innovation. At the end of the course, you get a signed certificate by the master teacher, Clay Christensen.
Disruptive Strategy with Clayton Christensen delivers active, team-based learning through a unique, collaborative online platform. Leveraging the theories of Professor Christensen, the course introduces new ways of solving your organization's toughest strategic challenges. Regarded as one of the world's top experts on innovation and growth, Clay has twice been named the world's most influential business thinker. He is the author of 9 books, including The Innovator's Dilemma, and teaches one of the most popular courses at the Harvard Business School. This course from HBX elevates the level of strategic thinking in your team and scales across your organization to build a common language for discussions around innovation, growth, and strategy. The Disruptive Strategy experience begins with the worldview of your cohort. Whether you are in the same location or dispersed globally, interacting with other participants is critical to the learning experience. The dots on the map indicate where your fellow participants are located. A pulsating dot indicates where your peers are online, allowing you to connect any time of the day. The dashboard is your gateway to disruptive strategy. From the dashboard, you can watch a video from your executive sponsor outlining your organization's goals, review both your own strategic question and that of your organization, and browse and respond to comments your coworkers have made in the course. The syllabus allows you to navigate through the course and track your own progress. Modules and lessons are completed sequentially to develop your understanding of concepts over time. The next lesson becomes available once the current lesson is complete. Each of the modules follows a similar progression: learn, practice, and apply. You first learn the concepts from play through short video lectures. Images, graphs, and interactive tools are interspersed between the lecture videos. These help explain the content in more detail. You also regularly encounter questions to help test your understanding of the concepts. The case study method is a hallmark of the Harvard Business School. HBX courses utilize cutting-edge multimedia case studies to help you practice what you have learned. In this case study, for example, you hear from Bill Hambrecht about the strategic decisions his company faced after they were invited to help underwrite Google's IPO. Just like the experience an MBA student would have in the HBS classroom, you are asked to step into the executive's shoes and make strategic decisions at critical points in the case. After submitting a response, you have the opportunity to see how the rest of your colleagues answered, providing an excellent source of discussion and debate. Every module ends with an exercise to help you apply the theories you've learned to your own industry and organization. To facilitate this, you meet with colleagues in a team huddle. These huddles can be done in person or over the phone. A discussion guide helps facilitate the process of applying the theories to your strategic challenge. This guide is then submitted within the platform to help your organization better capture your insights and execute your ideas. Upon completion of the course, successful participants earn a Harvard Business School certificate signed by Clay. As the course ends, your real work begins. Armed with a common language and strategic frameworks, you are prepared to lead discussions around innovation and growth that can inform long-term strategic goals and the direction of your organization.
Okay, is that some more realistic?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that looks like, man, that's pretty.
Looks pretty.
It's pretty.
It is pretty, yes.
I think also like everything, like this is Harvard Business School, which really doesn't compare to what we're doing here. Because if these people are in an executive MBA, they're in a position in their career where they can get time off to meet at whatever time the entire class is meeting. They're dedicated enough to get up at 1 a.m. like you showed a couple of people they're doing.
Yeah, I think that's the synchronous one.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like that's something that this second platform significantly overcomes. And I think even if we could say the first one is better for the Harvard executives, the second one is something that works with the reality of the students that we have who are not yet in that position.
Right. No, I think that's great point. And what's interesting is as we get enough students worldwide, I think we'll be able to put them in breakout groups where they are at least in the same time zone. So if we do need that synchronous component, maybe it's easier for that.
Well, and my class is all case studies. We're all mostly Harvard case studies. And the way we're doing it now is we divide people into groups, and they give me a schedule of what time zone they're in and when they're available. So my student in Ghana meets with my morning group.
Yeah.
It's here in the U.S. that has the morning meetings. And it's still a difficulty for him for various reasons related to being in Ghana, but this second platform would work, especially if you get enough students that you can consider where everybody is, and that you have enough critical mass that you have a group here in the morning that would be able to meet with the Ghanaian students as they're in the evening. So it would, as you get another couple of years down the road and there's more people taking B43, my class, then it's gonna be easier to do stuff like that.
And I don't want to put too much weight on the platform. I mean, I've heard good and bad things about iLearn3. I'm sure we'll have better stuff going forward in the future. What I wanted to cover briefly was kind of the model behind this, how we tried to set this up so that it was interactive with students and they felt like there was, they're not just going through the motions, they're actually learning from one another. Is there a comment?
Well, I was just going to say, so that example, the second one, so the only question that I saw that the students were asked was a binary
Yeah.
Or you're not in. So with what you're going to be telling us today, are you going to be kind of addressing how we can make those types of questions that aren't just binary questions that force people to, okay, great.
Yeah, here, and I want to talk about the importance of the spontaneous response. So this is the platform that we developed with UCU. I think one of the best things about this was the look and feel was much more like you'd see on Facebook. So the students could get background information on each other. You can they can upload a video to talk about themselves.
I'm a current student at BYU-Idaho and graduating with a degree in finance.
They can talk kind of more about their background. As the instructor, you could give an opening welcome, say like, hey, this is me, this is my office, I'm welcoming you to the course. Just little things like this seem to make a big difference for the students. Then when you get into the actual assignments, what's really important, at least with the case method, is we've got to walk them through these steps where they read the case, answer the poll questions, make a decision, and then they've got to be ready to fight. Like they've got to be able to say, hey, this is what I think they should do, and this is why, and then match them up against something with a very different opinion. And the way they do this at HBS is like, I'll just say it's pretty miraculous. These instructors lock themselves in their room and they comb through these poll questions. So they know exactly what their students are thinking. And in their offices, they have a layout of 90 students and they know where every single student is by face, and they have to stay in the same seats so they kind of get a feel. So when they walk into that classroom, they know Sally thinks this way and Rob thinks this way. And then they make it look very natural. They're like, let's open the discussion. Rob, what do you think? And Rob opens the case, particular response, and then he turns, it looks random. He's like, interesting, who has a different response? 20 hands go up, but Sally's one of them, and he knows it. Sally, what do you think? She gives a completely different answer. Rob's wrong for these 3 reasons, and this is what we should do. And suddenly the whole room like lights up, like on fire, right? There's 2 very different opposing views. And we can finally do this now in an online environment, but you've got to capture the student's response, and you've got to match up these asynchronous videos so that students can watch 2 different opposing views. So if we were to go through this is where we would open the case. I would have a brief intro on what the question is. And they've got to choose one of 4 responses. And it does seem a little binary, but they not only choose this, they actually have to defend it in a 30-second video. And the other great thing is they don't know what the question is until this pops up. So they've got their webcam set up here. They're asked the question, and then we also give them information on, hey, this is what everyone in the class said. So you said option D. Most people thought it was option A. You need to defend your response. Then we'll hit them with the question here.
Purpose of this next discussion.
And then after they hear the question, they've got about 10 seconds to kind of get their thoughts together. Their webcam immediately turns on, right, and it starts recording, and they can't stop it. Right, so you get a very spontaneous response. And some are like deers in the headlight. And we've had people like start crying. They'll put their hand over the camera and just wait the 30 seconds, Very interesting. But we've simulated what happens in the classroom, right? Like, I call on Joni. Tell me why you made the decision to come here to BYU-Idaho.
We felt that we're ready for the adventure.
See, this is one of my best instructors. He left Hawaii just this last week. He moved here, and now he's one of you. Right? But like in that moment, right? In that moment, like the question, like, I think this is where we get close to getting to the real thing. I don't want to bore you by going through all of these tests or all these questions, but basically there's this format the students have to go through. Probably the best part is we have a TripAdvisor approach to rating comments. And there's no way I want to watch 40 student videos. So the software automatically breaks up into smaller teams, and they have to watch each other's videos, and then they rate them. So I can come in at the end of the day, and I can see the top rated videos, watch a couple of those, get some opposing videos, stitch them together, and then push it back out to my students and say, you watch these 2 responses and tell me which one's correct. Right? I just saved myself like 3 hours. Yeah. So here's Tammy from Brazil.
So from what I understand, Kate Spade wanted to expand the business, and she also needed some guidance, management guidance, in order to do that well. From the other options, it seemed like they were interested in taking most of the control. Option C has.
Okay, so she goes through, explains her comments. We could go through all the different video responses. Some of these, I'm showing you the good ones, but some of these students haven't really figured out what they're doing. There's noise going on in the background. A roommate walks in, you know, like a towel around him. It's not all perfect. Here's a classic one. I don't know what he's doing at his desk.
So Kate Spade has done an excellent job at identifying and pursuing the opportunity. One of the greater things that she has been able to do is create a brand image.
Just like noise and stuff. But I mean, it's recording and they've only got so much time. Again, this simulates a good, I think, business skill of like succinctly responding, stating your opinion, backing it up, and then shutting your mouth.
So they get graded on this when they do this?
Yeah, so this is more about participation, but there's something about the students seeing how they're ranked by their peers has a pretty big impact. So once we've done that, now we can go to a second follow-up question. I like this part because based on the responses I'm getting, I may want to just throw in another question, so I can pull out my iPhone, I can record myself, it's a little shaky, right? I can throw out another question and then just push it back out there, and they have to watch my question and then again respond. And then last thing, I think this is, there's a little bit of anxiety. Like students kind of feel under pressure, and they do everything they can to cheat. I'll just say that up front. Like you look at their computer screens, and they've got Post-it notes like all around their computer, like reading their notes. Okay, what's he gonna ask me? But in my mind, I think they're getting prepared. I think there's some learning that happens even in the cheating process. No. Okay, so here's Tammy. Again, here she starts to run out of time. And there's a countdown. They can watch how much time they have left to respond.
And she would also get the management training that she developed. Oh, what are the complete options? The alternatives, they basically would give her a higher monetary value. Oh crap.
I think it's happening in our real classrooms. I think this is right. We're getting close to the real thing. Finally, there could be a third follow-up question. I don't want to bore you with this. They've got to basically rate each other's videos one last time, and then this is the best part. And they do this at HBS. They actually bring in the actual protagonist of the case, but they've got 10 sections going on at one time, and they can't get them in front of 900 students at once. So they have this elaborate system of video cameras in all these classrooms. They bring in the protagonist, and as he's talking about the case, what happened, it's being broadcast live to 9 other classrooms. And at every desk, there's a microphone, and so students can basically ask a question, right? So all 900 students are getting the same experience. But here, what we've done is thanks to our illustrious leadership, we've got access to the HBS cases, so we can show the video at the end. I think in this case, yeah. So here's the actual protagonist talking about what happened. The students now, they can watch the video and then take 1 to 2 minutes to write, kind of record their key takeaways. And you still do that, right? You do like Google Hangouts?
Sort of, yeah. It's piloting right now. We're still figuring out some things.
Oh, good. I would love to talk with you more about that.
That's why I came here.
Okay. Okay. So let's go back to.
Was BYU-Idaho looking at this to, as we're progressing along with online? I mean, I see pros and cons here, but I mean, is this something they're looking at?
Yeah, they're looking at different platforms like this. And
I teach math, and I kind of struggle, how would you do this with math? I mean, maybe throw up a problem or something and walk through it, but,
if you throw up a problem, a math problem, they come up with their own answers, and when you throw up another answer, and they have to explain why the answer is right or wrong, they learn far more math that way. Sorry, that's.
But, because with the follow-up, it's kind of like, I feel like I teach natural disasters, and I feel like my hands are tied. This is a really cool platform. I don't see my own ability to integrate that into the class without having it structurally integrated into the curriculum. Is that?
It would have to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be, from the day the course is designed, it's got to be part of the structure.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have links within iLearn point to UCU. So
Yeah.
when I was grading the prior version of my class last semester, I didn't grade anything in iLearn.
Okay.
I graded everything in UCU. And actually it was a pain because I'd actually have both open. So I'd be doing UCU and scoring in iLearn. So anyway, the way I did it wasn't flawless. The new UCU looks better, but I get it now. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, so that this should really be presented to you as instructors to get your thoughts. We should also be presenting this to our developers on how they can incorporate this into platforms.
Yeah.
But we do have some real data on using UCU for these case discussion classes. In 2014, we had 24,000 videos recorded by students. There are comments that can go along with the students on the side so they can have a text discussion along with the video. In 2015, we hit 28,000. I think this was as of March 2016. If we had more time, I'd love to show you how we've used this video tool with projects that students have internationally. If you have time, I would go to the Kapalu Connection. This is one of our students running a nonprofit in Vanuatu. The other site to go to would be BYU TV. Just this last week, they released an episode on one of our students from the Ivory Coast of Africa. He was running a startup company there, and the only way to kind of communicate with his group there on the ground as they were putting this project together was through asynchronous video. And so, I wish we had more time. I would love to talk about basically how we've used videos, not just in the classroom, not just cases, but also running real projects. Yep. I think we've got like 2 minutes. I'll just show part of this video. Then we'll open it to any questions you have.
It's a miracle. My uncle wasn't that rich, but at least I didn't have to work, and I formally started to go to school. But I think my uncle also taught me a very important lesson. It's whatever you will do with your education, that will determine where you will be in the future. So I started to work hard, and I think as I was progressing, my passion for reading helped me catch up. It was an eye-opener. I was like, so I am smart. That's where I started to dream big. I have to tell you, for a boy like me to have a goal to go to BYU is a pretty big goal. Nobody thought I would be able to make it. I started to apply in 2009, got rejected 3 times, keep on applying. You know, I've always been stubborn. When I wanted something, I managed to get what I wanted. I knew that this was the place and that I needed to be.
Again, BYU TV, it's called Enactus if you have a chance to watch that video. I'll just close with these thoughts and then open it to questions. When I think about our purpose here at BYU-Idaho and the other BYUs, we're really trying to not just get education out to these students, but build a kingdom, build testimony. And I think a lot of us love this. We're We love teaching, we love working with the students. We know that the church needs it. We're getting paid for it. As a business guy, I have to say that's important. We need something that drives the engine. But the only way we're going to be great at this, right, is we need our master teachers teaching this stuff online. It can't be just 10 here and 20 here. And I know if we can get this right, get the right tools, we can be serving a lot more students. So I think there's some ways here we can simulate the very best classrooms. It's going to come down to the Socratic method. We need that face-to-face component, whether it's synchronous or asynchronous. The peer-to-peer piece is critical, where students are learning from each other. And I think we've seen the disruptive technology. It's out there. It's coming. Hopefully it'll become mobile, and it'll become a lot cheaper. We'll know it's truly disruptive if it's low cost, scalable, and most importantly, we need to take the instructor out of the equation. When I go to Mexico City and see these pathway students teaching each other, they've got this old projector up against this cinder block wall, right? There's no professor in that classroom, and the amount of learning going on is unbelievable. I think that's the future, where they feel like they've got a mentor, they've got someone who can help guide them, but at the end of the day, they take responsibility for their education. And I think this is the time, this is the generation that communicates this way, and they're ready for it. So I want to thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
So, taking the instructor out of the equation, unpack that a little bit more.
Yes.
So yes, there's teach one another there.
Yeah.
But you talk about the mentor. How does, I guess, the role? What do you mean by instructor and mentor?
So the very best case discussions typically do not have the instructor front and center, right? They've helped create the environment, they've started the dialogue, but when you look closely in the classroom, they're off to the side. So they're not completely gone, but the focus is on the students and on the learning that's taking place. So, yes.
Your participation in that reminds me of the scouting method, where the scout master is off to the side, but they're following a pattern where they're showing the scout to do something, they let them do it, and they help out in that manner.
Yeah, and I think we do have to give some training up front and provide some resources. This is a little slide, but one of the things I always do in my case method classes is I invite students from last semester, and I hide them. I put them out there in the class. Right? They don't even know. So when I open the case, right, like 5 hands shoot up, and I'm like, hey, Robbie, how would you start this? And they get a masterful example of opening the case and answering the questions. And then at the end of the class, they say, okay, I had 5 hidden among you. They stand up, and we recognize them and say, this is how we run the case. And after about 2 or 3 cases, right, they pick it up, they're good at it. And some of the best discussions, I could just walk in and say, hey, where do you want to start? 3 hands go up, I call in one of them, and I can just move to the side of the classroom. So I say when I say take them out of the equation, I guess they're still there, but it's.
But the focus isn't on them, the focus is now on the students.
Right. Yes.
Isn't this how we're supposed to be teaching like gospel doctrine on Sunday?
Yeah.
It's supposed to.
to.
I realize there's a stretch, a big stretch. This is how learning should happen, right?
Yeah.
It's a big piece of it, absolutely.
Yeah, and when you watch someone who's good at it, they make it seem so easy. But I think if you were to really look at the time and the preparation and say, Sister Johnson, I'm going to raise this question. Can you take a few minutes to talk about this? I mean, there's a lot of preparation that goes into making that work. Yes.
I realize most of you are on campus, but President Gilbert had a round table a few weeks ago, and he spoke to this very thing about lesson preparation and taking himself out of the equation, basically. He didn't use those words. But he went through how he prepares and the effort that he goes through, and he has students answer questions before class, so that he knows that this one has the right answer and this one doesn't. Same type of thing, where you can go in and online it would be your videos instead, but he can go in and he can call on this person and have them explain the wrong answer that everyone in the class thinks is right.
Right.
And they're supporting it, and then how he can use the other students
to explain, because he's like, as a teacher, he didn't want to be the one destroying the class,
Right.
that they all had the wrong answer.
Yeah.
But he could use the student to teach the others and help them come to the right conclusion, and how he goes through his lesson plan so that he can direct them to these certain points as he goes through, and it's the same kind of idea that you're speaking to, where he's not, he's just facilitating.
No, I think that's a great point. And you know you had a great class when students come in thinking one way, and an hour later, they leave that classroom thinking totally different. And I think that's where the learning's taking place. Great. I appreciate your time. I think we've used your time up.